This show is produced by the Harwood Podcast Network.
Hi, I'm Cindy Harris, and we love making this show available to you free of charge. If you'd like to help us keep it that way, make a contribution to our Karma Jar. For more information, visit our website. Well, spring has definitely sprung. Look at this dogwood starting to put out its pretty blossoms. My golden delicious apple is starting to pop, and I just love the pink in these apple blossoms. The blueberry bushes are starting to put out flowers, so that's going to be lots of great berries. I look forward to my cherry tree blooming every year because of all the great cherries it makes. And look at these amazing freesias. Look at the yellow and then just that little purple one in the back. I love the fragrance of these flowers. My raspberry patch gets bigger each year, and these are both yellow and red raspberries. And look at this darling little violet patch I found. I love these. I have to show you the tulip pot we planted back in January. Look at the amazing colors we have. And you can see that the garden is really starting to come back to life after a really long and rainy winter here in Northern California. Remember the basil seeds we started back in January? Well, look at them now. They're just beautiful. Well, in today's episode, I wanted to show you how you can make some seed tapes for your garden. So I've done a couple of different types of radishes, some broccoli rabe, a couple of different kinds of carrots, and some beets. And these are traditionally fairly small seeds that can be difficult to plant in your garden. So let me show you how I make these seed tapes. Now, the first thing you want to do is measure how long you want your tape to be. Now, I'm going to be planting these in my earth box, so I need it to be about 22 inches long. Now, for the tape, I find that using some toilet tissue works great because it's very, very thin and it dissolves easily. So I'm just going to take and measure out about 22 inches of the paper, and I'm going to cut it. And then I'm going to take my scissors and I'm going to split it right down the center, the whole length of the strip of paper. Now this paper is actually 2-ply, so it's 2 levels of paper, which would be a little thick for what we want to do. So now what I'm going to do is take it and I'm going to pull those layers apart. So by the time you're done here, you've taken a 22-inch piece of toilet tissue, you've split it in half, and then you've pulled the layers apart, and you end up with the basis for 4 different seed tapes. Now we're going to take each strip and we're going to fold it in half lengthwise, just like this. And as you fold it, make sure to really crease that edge really well. Now I've made sure to do that for all 4 of my strips, and now it's time to actually get the seeds put into these strips of paper. Now I've set aside just one of the strips because I can only work with one at a time, and in a little dish I've measured out 1/4 cup of just regular all-purpose flour, and to it I'm going to add 3 tablespoons of water. Now what we're making here is like a flour paste, and this is something that I learned how to make back when I was about 6 years old. When I was in school at that time, they didn't have paste and glue and things. So my first grade teacher, Mrs. Coons, would make this flour paste for us. And when I was thinking about making these seed tapes, I wanted something that was going to be very friendly to my soil. I didn't want to use anything that had any weird additives to it. And this flour paste really works perfectly. I'm using a popsicle stick to mix it up. And as you can see, I'm adding the water just a tablespoon at a time. And the reason I'm doing that is I want to make sure that it's not too runny. I want it to be a nice thick paste so it will hold those seeds in place. You'll want to make sure to mix it up real well and see how thick this is. That's what I'm going for. Now it's time to get out your seeds, and I'm going to be making this tape as a watermelon radish seed tape. So on the back, I want to see how far the plants should ultimately be apart. For these radishes, they suggest 2 inches, so I'm going to get out my tape measure again, and I'm going to be placing seeds in every 2-inch intervals. Now the next thing I want to do is open up my seed tape, and I'm going to be placing the seeds on one side of that tape. And once you open it up, then you're going to get your flour paste, and we're going to just take and we're going to put little blobs of flour paste every 2 inches on our paper. Now I like to leave an inch free, so as you can see I'm starting at 3 and then going 5 and 7 and 9 and 11 and so on. Now once I've made the paste dots all the way down the tape, I'm going to take my radish seeds, and these are a nice size seed, so I'm just going to put one in the center of each of the little blobs of flour. Now normally when we plant radish seeds, we kind of sprinkle them and we get too many and they're too crowded, and then you have to thin a bunch. With seed tape you get them in the exact measurements that they need to be so that they can grow nice and healthy. Now that the seeds are in place, we're going to fold that other edge of the paper over, and you want to pat each seed because that flour paste is going to seal the seeds between those 2 pieces of paper. Now this last step is really important because your seed tapes are going to all look the same when you make a bunch of them. So do get a little piece of paper, I'm using a Post-it, and just stick it to the end and just let them sit on the board. We want that flour paste to dry, and now you can just take whatever other seeds that you want to do and create more seed tapes. Now one last tip, when you're doing really small seeds like these carrot seeds, I do like to put 2 seeds in each of the little blobs of flour because they're so tiny. I want to make sure that at least one of them germinates. Now, one of the things I love about making my own seed tapes is that I can use any seeds I want. Here in the United States, we can buy seed tapes, but they don't have very many varieties. So this year, I was able to do 2 kinds of beets, 2 kinds of carrots, 2 kinds of watermelons, and in fact, with the broccoli rabe, I was able to make seed tapes and give them to my friends so that they could plant them in their own gardens. Now when you're ready to plant your seed tape, if you're going to plant it just in some earth in the backyard, lay the seed tape on the ground, cover it over with a thin layer of dirt, pat it down, and sprinkle it with water, and you're good to go. I'm going to be planting these in my earth box, so I want to show you how I go about doing that. Now I've gone ahead, I've done the dolomite, I've done the fertilizer, the final mound of dirt over the top, and now I'm putting the cover on top, which, as we learned from when we sprouted our basil seeds, that cover is really a nice thing. But how do we get the tape in there? Well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make some slits. So I'm going to take my seed tape and I'm going to lay it down right where I want it, and then I'm going to take my scissors and I'm just going to make a couple of quick snips at either end, and then I'm going to use my scissors and make a slice down that cover so it's about the length of my seed tape. Then I can take the tape and I can tuck it right underneath the slit, making sure that the seeds can pop up through there. And then I'm just going to take some of my soil and sprinkle it on top so I don't see the paper at all, and then press it down. And then I have some of these little plastic markers. So I've labeled this one, and I'm going to go ahead and just put it right at the end of my row there. Now, I also thought I would show you how you can plant some larger seeds. Now, these are some bush beans, and I found a yellow and purple and green bush bean. And I have room here for 3 plants in this earth box. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my scissors and I'm going to make a little X in each spot. And then I just take the seed and I pop it in to the little hole, cover it with dirt, and press it down, and then water the whole pot. And now I've got all kinds of great seeds going on. Now, if you'd like to make your own seed tapes at home, just go to our website and go to the Cindy's 4-Season Garden show notes, and I'll have the directions there for you. If you are doing any gardening this spring, do make sure to send me some photos so that you can earn some of our gardening badges. Don't forget to join us on Facebook, and if you have any questions or ideas for me, please send me an email. I'll see you next time.